Hello and welcome back. This is a scenario that happened in practice game number 9. That turned out to be such an awesome game, the best game so far on this channel that I've played. It was so good that I'm going to be making several videos to analyze different stages of that game. Now, at this stage, what happened? White rolled a 5 and a 4, and what I want to analyze for you here is that with a 5 and a 4, if white had gone 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5, if he had played that, he would have sealed a loss for himself. That would have been, well, a definite loss, possibly a gammoning. I know I'm stating the obvious here, but I am trying to make a point. See, there are videos on YouTube, and I will be going through some of those videos later on in this channel, where they set the board up very differently to what it is set up now, and they say, oh, don't run with that checker. Now, in those situations, it's not as blatant as what it is here. Black and white have both got similar number of checkers that they have to get into their own quarter, but they will argue that because the blacks, they calculate the number of points, and they say, oh, but black's got as many checkers away from home as white, but because of the number of checkers on the different points, they calculate how many points are apply to how many checkers on that position, and oh yes, but black's checkers add up to less points than white's checkers, therefore you wouldn't run. I don't necessarily agree with that philosophy. There are certain situations where if you are at a slight disadvantage, please note I said slight disadvantage, you would still run. But in this case, white is not at a slight disadvantage. He is at a major disadvantage, and this has happened because of a whole series of unlucky rolls for white. So definitely white would not run here, and what I decided to do with a 5 and a 4 in that case, I went 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4. It got a couple of checkers inside the quarter, plus it primed off this point. The next roll the black had was a 5 and a 3, and I decided to do a hit with a 5 and a 3 there. That was a risk worth taking, because on the next roll, white would have had to roll a 6 and a 2 to be able to hit black. But that ended up not happening. Now at this stage, it looks like white's fate is sealed. It really looks like a definite victory for black. Please go and watch that game in its entirety. It's really worth watching. I just keep saying it's the best game so far on this channel. White ended up getting back in and priming here and doing a hit and having black in all sorts of trouble. You wouldn't believe it from looking at it right here, right now. You would think that white's fate is sealed. A lot of people would concede at this point. Some people would just concede and say, yeah, I accept the loss, because they'd rather accept the loss than a possible gammoning. And, you know, a gammoning seems quite likely here. But, you know, on this channel, we're not going to do that. We're not going to concede early. We're going to play games through to see what can possibly happen. So the way fate swung in favour of white was quite amazing. And the fate swung so much in white's favour that white actually looked like winning. And then, had it not been for a very unlucky roll for white and a very lucky roll for black, white would have won. But because of what I just said, black ended up winning. The reversal of fortunes in this game, it happened several times. It was absolutely amazing. But anyway, the point I wanted to prove in this particular scenario was white decided not to run, because it would have guaranteed, with the 5 and a 4 that I just showed you, would have guaranteed a loss, if not a gammoning. And even now it seems like, gee, not running didn't pay off. I mean, look at the trouble white's in at the moment, but the gamble actually worked for white. And as I said, had it not been for an extremely unlucky roll for white later and a very lucky roll for black to follow, white would have won. That is something I will analyse in a future video. But as I said, the main point I wanted to make in this video was white did not run. Not running seems to have worked out against white at this stage, but it actually worked in favour of white. The reason I say it worked in favour of white is because what happened subsequent to white being hit there. So anyway, but as I said, please watch the game in its entirety, and I will be uploading videos later on analysing other stages of that game. It really requires several videos. The game was so exciting, and there were so many reversals of fortune that I have to really explain each of them separately. But anyway, thank you for watching.